That's cool. Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Or Caitlin, are you ready?
Yeah, I can go.
Okay, I'll go. I'll click over to Caitlin.
Um, all right. Okay. Can you see it?
Hmm.
Okay. Um, so I'm doing the band mail, which is a fan mail app for musicians, and I really haven't been able to change much of the written part.
Hmm.
Um, I mostly just worked on or redid my flowchart and wireframes. And
Okay.
so, like, I have the apps that I want to compare it to. I just have it, and I have the screenshots. I just haven't actually put it all together yet.
Okay.
But I redid my flowchart and it's a little more detailed. Um, and then started on the wireframes, still working on some details, but just a pretty basic like home screen. And then this is going to be like after they log in. I'm still working on some details of it because I want the inbox to be also more prevalent than just the updates they'll kind of share. But essentially, the updates is going to be like kind of like a Facebook and Twitter feed um, where they get to see like the mass updates from the bands, and then they click up here, it'll take them to their inbox. They want to post an update, they hit that, and then the inbox. Kind of working on it, but um, I mean, it'll like say which ones have been replied to, and then the ones that have been replied to, like the text gets a little lighter,
Hmm.
and then I figured there'd be view all, and then like unread messages only, and that's what I've got.
Okay. Um, Jada, do you have any thoughts?
I have a question about the flow chart.
Hmm.
Um, the flow chart is it supposed to like flow how like someone would like interact with like say they want to sign up, so you would make a flow chart of how they sign up, or is it just only like the different pages of the app, like how we do a website?
Right. So like how this it's kind of like so this is just like say they open the app, and then if this is not really a part of the screen, it's just more of if they're already a member, then they just log in. Um, or if they need to register, then they can register as a band or a fan. I just kind of wanted to show that they register separately. And then the login, so like once they've logged in, it's going to take them to a screen with both the inbox and updates. And then, say if you click on updates, you can post an update, but if you go on inbox, you can pose a message. So I don't know, because it's like my other flowchart had them like as separate pages, but like the inbox and updates were separate pages, but they're all like going to be displayed on the same page, I guess if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And then the post updates, post message, there's like options for each of those, I guess.
Okay. So, Jada, getting back to your question, what you want to do with the flowchart is diagram all of the different ways you might travel through this app. I'm just
Okay.
wondering, looking at the beginning here about the login, you could potentially bypass and go all the way to your inbox because let's say it remembers you.
Mhm.
So you might want to draw that pathway in there, and then it feels like um, there's just a lot of real estate dedicated to this whole. Well, you could if you're already a member and it doesn't detect you, you say no, then you register, and then once you register as a band, wouldn't you go I guess that makes sense. Okay, so then your inbox, theoretically, if it remembered you, it would go right to your inbox. Now,
Mm.
as a fan member, where do you go once you get in? You're not checking your inbox, are you?
Right, yeah. So I think, so let's go down. Like, this is right here. Like, this is
Mm-hmm.
kind of what I'm picturing. Like, once you're logged in, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna display most of this, most I guess from a fan's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna show mostly updates.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can also choose to go to their inbox and see if they have. I'm also like, it'll show like a number like on the envelope of displaying like how many messages they have.
Okay. Okay. So you may want to separate your flowchart into what a band might be doing and what a user. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Once they split, okay, I'm a band, I'm a user, then here's what the layouts, here's what your landing page is going to look like. It seems like the inbox might be a more appropriate landing page for a band, whereas the updates are more appropriate for a fan.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So that's maybe how you might want to represent it in your flowchart. I guess my biggest question for you is I still don't feel sold on the whole concept. Like, and I'm not saying it's not a good idea. I'm just saying
Mhm.
that you need to provide a case for why a band, especially, would want to use this.
Mhm.
Um, what is more compelling about this than sending out tweets?
Just that this is more two-sided instead of one-side. Like, so, like, let's go up here. So the apps, there's Reverb Nation, and then the Facebook pages and Facebook mentions.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much these all work where, like, the bands, they send out the messages, and then people, they can comment and stuff like that, but there's really no direct to the band. And so,
Mm-hmm.
like, um, this just kind of gives them more way for them to like get into contact with the band because like I just know a lot of bands that used to do fan mail and stuff and that got replaced by social media and now they don't. I mean they have a different form of interaction with their fans now instead of what it used to be,
Okay.
so it's
Would
kind of more personal.
Okay, so make sure you make this case,
Hmm.
in your writing. But I would also include maybe Twitter as part of your competition too, because clearly there's a weakness
Hmm. Yeah.
because it's a one-sided
Well,
conversation.
okay.
Um, so yeah, I think it's coming along. I would clean up your flowchart a little bit. Maybe make two. You might have to make sometimes when you're designing interactive applications for two different user types,
Hmm.
you might need to make two separate flowcharts
Okay.
just to clarify, okay, and there's going to be some overlap. They might both have inboxes, so the layout would be similar, but it's easier to digest if you're looking at it from one type of audience's perspective.
Okay.
Like, I worked on a project one time, and it was a website for kind of like an Etsy site where independent designers were selling their products. So
Hmm.
there was an interface for administrators of the site, the shop owners of the site, and then the shoppers. So when I was creating the flowcharts, you really had to think about, okay, this is, um, you know, these are the tasks and the areas that this person would go to versus this, and then some of them would overlap a little bit, but
Hmm.
it's a lot easier to kind of separate it out.
Okay.
Jada, do you have any thoughts
Um,
about
no.
it? Okay, well, Caitlin, are you good? Do you have any more questions or anything?
No, that's good suggestions. So.
Okay, Jada, go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. Time screen. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I added on my I added my competitive analysis. I was looking, I was doing more research on my like car security alarm, and I found three good ones. It was one camera that it was called a clip-on camera. It was from like the Brink system, and I liked the pros that I had for the clip-on camera was I liked how it was a non-recognizable camera, so you couldn't tell that it was a camera. It looked just like um, like the rearview mirror, not the rearview mirror, but the mirror inside the car. So it was very it wasn't noticeable, and I was saying that was something like I would like for like for the device for my car lock.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also saying the cons for this clip-on car mirror was it was pretty expensive for some. So I think one thing about mine would be it'll be a decent price so anyone could purchase it and use it for their car. Another competitor, I was looking at the BMW, like you were saying, and a few of the other students were saying. I was looking at their built-in surveillance, and one thing I liked about the BMW built-in surveillance was it came with night vision, so you can see any movement at night. And as you can see from the example, you can see like the people walking. So whether it's people or animals, the night vision will pick it up. And it also had an alarm attack, so it'll inform the owner of the vehicle of a sudden or potential attack.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking of like doing something like that with car lock. It'll be cool to have a night vision version, just so if they're out, if they're somewhere, if the user is somewhere, like say camping, and their car is out at night, they could have night vision or whatever. And then the alarm attack was something I thought was really cool. The cons for this was also it only comes with BMWs, so it was very expensive. So I wanted to open my app for anyone to use for their car. The last one was a app I saw for view. It was called a security spy cam, and basically the user was able to choose like different views to look at. And so one thing for like my app, I wanted them. Also, I forgot to tell you for the first one, for the clip-on camera, another con was it only showed from the inside. It only recorded the interior. It didn't record the outside. And so I wanted like mine to record from both inside and out. And so this is what I liked about Security Spy Cam. You were able to choose like which part you wanted to look at. And so that was something I would like to incorporate with my app. One thing I was considering was because I want to make it like for everyone to use, I was thinking about like making two parts. So for example, there will be like the device where people could buy, whether like at auto shop or any like type or any store in like their car section. So there, not only is it like expensive where you're buying it at like a dealership, but it's easy for anyone to go and get. And so like when they get that device, like on the packaging, that's where it'll have like where it'll tell them to download my app and like enter a code
Mm-hmm.
to register that device so they could use it.
I'm going to interrupt you. Just sorry. I think
Mhm.
that this is great. You've done all this research into cameras and camera systems, but the objective of the assignment is to design an app. So when we're talking
Yeah.
about the competitive analysis, I'd rather have you focus on apps that, looking at apps that may not have anything to do with car security, but might be like a nanny cam app or
Oh,
other
okay.
because you're not designing a camera. You can
Yeah.
you can tell us that your app is going to work with this awesome camera that does this, 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 and this, but the focus is on the app itself and how we're going to navigate the app and how we're going to use the app. So your competition, you can include some of this stuff that you've done, but really it's about uh, this is interface design, not camera design. You know what I mean? Camera
Mhm.
system design. You know what I mean? So start looking at, there have to be other apps that might be for different industries that we use in conjunction with some type of camera that
Okay.
and I think you've already gotten a few ideas about some of the features that you want your app to be able to do with this particular camera from doing the work that
Mhm.
you've done so far. But we're really talking about like, okay, what does it look like? What are these apps? How often do they allow me to check it? Is there an alarm feature on it? What happens if I see something that's, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
start to look at apps as opposed to cameras, and like I said, the apps don't necessarily need to be in the car industry.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
I think you have a really
Um,
cool idea.
Also, do you want to see my flowchart? I kind
Sure.
of started on it, but I didn't know like where to really go with it. So hold on. I have all of these folders. I'm so mm, flowchart. Oh, sideways.
That's
So
okay.
basically what I had like for my app was it was the home page and then it was gonna house these three, so the alert system, you would go in there to look at the video.
hmm Yeah, your flowchart seems to be more akin to like a flowchart for a website. People use apps to complete certain tasks, right? So I think that you should
Yes.
return to this when you outline all of the things that your app is going to do. And
Okay.
then, so for example, Caitlin's app is going to allow bands to read messages and respond to them, and users, fans, to get alerts from all the bands that they follow and send direct messages to them. So that's what the app needs to do.
Okay.
And that diagram that she made diagrams the process. Her flowchart diagrams kind of like it's more task based as opposed to information based. Do you see what I
Okay.
mean?
Yep.
So I think it'll make a little bit more sense to you when you decide, when you look at some apps and you decide, okay, my app is going to allow a person to do this, 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 and this.
Mhm.
How, where do they make these choices, and what steps are they going to take in order to get to these final results?
Okay.
So next critique, at least have looked at some apps and make a list of tasks that you need it to do, that you need this app to accomplish.
Okay.
Um, Caitlin, did you have anything to add to that?
No, no. I mean, I think it's a good idea, but yeah, I think it more needs to be more focused on the app than the product.
I'm going to try to, I might pitch a time over the Thanksgiving break if people want to get in a critique over Thanksgiving break, because our next meeting time isn't till a week from Thursday, since Thursday's Thanksgiving. So I'll pitch a time, maybe the Saturday morning time or something like that, or the next Monday, so that people can get a critique, and then we'll all meet in person on that Thursday, which is like I think December 3rd or 4th or something like that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, I will see you later. Have a great Thanksgiving, and I'll see you either Saturday or Monday.
All right, cool.
All right,
Bye.
bye.